Test.
Yes. Evet, merhaba arkadaşlar tekrardan. Şubat 2019 meetup'ımız da bugün İran'dan geliyorlar. Mustafa Sufi, Verona Labs'ın kurucusu. İlk oturumda bize WordPress eklentisi geliştirme ile ilgili bir sunum yapacak. Sunum İngilizce olacak bu arada. Eğer bir çeviri ihtiyacınız varsa yardımcı olabiliriz. İkinci oturumda ise Navid Kaşani bize Verona Labs'ın Customer Support'u ile ilgili güzel bilgiler verecek. Bu konuda da aramızda tecrübeli arkadaşlar var. Güzel bir soru cevap kısmında olacağını tahmin ediyorum. Mustafa, please, you can start your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm Mustafa from Verona Labs. I'm very happy to be involved in this meetup. The first part of this presentation related to plugin development, and the second part of this presentation related to customer support by Navid with our experience in Verona Labs. Verona Labs, with over 5,000 active users in its product, and provide high quality service such as plugin development and customer service. Well, I want to explain you about plugin development. Let's start. And the first question is why we make a plugin. I think it's a best question, and the answer is don't touch WordPress core. What is a plugin? WordPress plugins are made up of PHP code and other assets such as images, CSS, and JavaScript. To make a new plugin, first you need to create a new file in this path. Look at the path. README file, the basic information of your plugin available in this file. You can specify some information such as contributors, required version, tested up, and required PHP version. And the README file is required for your plugin. Folder structure. There are many types of different structure for your plugin, and I think the folder structure is optional. But it's better you using a standard or a simple structure for your plugin. Look at the slide. There are three main directories in the plugin, includes public and languages. You can put admin files and core files in this directory, and in another directory, public, you can use your front files and assets and languages. Suggestion. To develop the plugin, you need to follow some simple rules. I want to tell you some of them. Enable debugging mode. You can see all notice error when developing. It's recommended the constant of WP debug available in wp-config.php. Not to echo script tag and style tags directly. WordPress has a useful function for loading assets and you can use these functions. It's very simple. Look at the example. In this example, you can include CSS and JS with these functions. But consider there are many different functions for include or load inline CSS. Avoid naming collisions. It's better you use the namespace in your plugin. I think it's a good way to avoid naming conflicts in function and classes, your class names. Take a note of this example. There are a fatal error. The namespace solves this problem. Look at the example. It's very easy. Just you use the namespace in the above your function or class name. Prefix everything. The prefixes are used for functions, classes, and constant name. It's better to use the short name of your plugin for the prefixes. Look at the example. Check for existing implementation. PHP provides a number of functions to verify the existence of variables, functions, and classes, and constant. All of this will return true if the integer exists. For variables, you can use isSet. Look at the example. The first example is for array, and the second example is for object. And for functions, you can use function exist. Look at the example. You can check, for example, is admin functions. If doesn't available, you can require or load the file. And another example. And for classes, you can use class exist. This is I think this is a best example. You can check another class in another plugin and run your codes or hooks. For constant, you can use defined. Sometimes you should set value for a constant if that doesn't have any value. It's a good example. Look at the slide. Conditional loading. It's better you separate your code in different environments. This method helps to your plugin to have better performance. Look at the example. You can load your admin classes or functions just in admin environment. Hooks. There are two types of hooks in WordPress: action and filter. Let's get to know more with hooks. Action. Actions provide a way for running a function at a specific point in the execution of WordPress core, plugin, and themes. In this example, we calling a function that sends an email. It's very easy. Look at the slide. You can, for example, if an error delete in your plugin, you can run a function that sends an email. Filters. Filters provide a way for functions to modify data of other functions. Let's see a real example. Here we have a function that output is Sarah. Look at this function. The output is Sarah. And we can change the output of this function with apply filter, and the output will be changed to hello Sarah. Plugin features. I want to tell you about the main features of plugin. Let's see that. Shortcode. Shortcode is the best way to show the PHP function in the WordPress editor and widget. For example, you can show your functions in the post, page, and text widget. You should just have to do that. Look at the example. It's very easy. Just you have a function that called add shortcode hooks. But please consider there are many arguments for the shortcode. Just this example is basic and simple. Internationalizations. Internationalization is the process of developing your plugin so it can easily be translated into other languages. I think internationalization is help to your plugin to grow up that this is a fact. To support internationalization, you need to load your text domain in your plugin. Then for you load your string, you need to use these functions. It's very simple. Activation and deactivation. Activation and deactivation hooks provide a way to perform actions when plugins are activated or deactivated. For example, for activation, we can add rewrite roles, add custom database table, or set default option value. And for deactivation, we can remove temporary data such as cache, temp files, and directory. Look at the example. The first example is for activation, and the second example is for the activation hook. Transient API or cache is a simple way of storing cache data in the database temporarily by giving it a custom name and a time frame after which it will expire and be deleted. For example, you can cache your slow queries. Let's see an example. In this example, first we get the result of this query and put it in the cache with this time. Then you can use and the cache expire in this time. It's very easy. Security notes. Security is a most important point because your plugin will be installed on every WordPress. Nonce. Nonce are generated numbers used to verify origin and intent of request for security purpose. Each nonce can only be used There are two URLs in this slide, without nonce and with nonce. Please consider, keep in mind after making the nonce, you should verify it. Sanitizing user data. WordPress has many useful functions for clearing user inputs. With this function, you can check for UTF-8 and convert single last 10 character to entity and strip all HTML tags and remove line breaks, tabs, and extra white space. Blocking direct access. Prevent direct access provide a simple way to protect your WordPress PHP file. It's recommended that you use this command in above your PHP files. Ignite. I have a gift for you. This is a starter plugin for development. So let me know more about it. Option page. You can create a setting page with tabs and all fields supported in Ignite, such as text, upload, color, WP editor in the setting page. Support namespace. All classes in this plugin support namespace. It's very clean. Clean structure. The main structure of this plugin, it's very simple. Look at the picture, look at the file name and folder. Installing and creating table. A simple example of creating table in the database and display that in the admin with WP list table. Support REST API. You can add, there are a simple example for adding an endpoint for WP REST API in this plugin. Template functions. You can put your temp functions in this file. Look at the file name and structure of this file. There are a namespace that called options. So let's see your questions. There are 2 questions. So which table in WordPress stores tables? The transit APIs store in option tables. And the second question, what is the difference between action and filter? For filters, you can change the output of your functions. For example, you have a function that output is Sarah, and you can change the output of this function to another thing. For example, hello Sarah. And for actions, you can call your function when a new trick run in your WordPress. For example, if a new item removed in your WordPress, you can call a new event. For example, send email, send SMS. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Is it possible to do some demo with Ignite?
I think I try to after next
Afterwards.
presentation.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
S-
Next presentation.
So, what is the benefits of using Ignite when we are developing a plugin?
Ignite is a simple or a starter plugin
Mhm.
for developing, and you can create an option page.
Mhm.
You have the installing table, REST API, and template function, and another. It's a very starter, and you can just clone this repository and start your plugin.
Okay. Is there any questions about the presentation? Yes. 1 minute.
There is a WP list table class in your starter plugin, as far as I understand, right? Just example
about
WP list table class, right?
After next presentation, I have a demo about.
Okay. For example, you want to make some customer feedback plugin. So instead of using custom post type, when you use your WP list table class and write everything from scratch with database queries, etc. So what's the difference between that and custom post type? Just performance purpose or anything?
This is a good question, and I think it's if you dependent in your data. For example, if your data have 2 or 3 columns, you can use custom table that use WP list table. But if your features or tables requires more fields and more metadata, you can use post type. And for post type, you doesn't need any for WP loading or installing WP list table. Just create a new post type.
Maybe I can give another example about that. We had a TV listing website built with WordPress. We store, for example, TV programs as a post types, as a custom post types. It was perfectly normal and it was working very good. But things changed when we started to store TV showtimes, because there are lots of amount of data, and it just stores time and channel name. So it is not a good approach to use a standard post type for that. At the end of the day, we had hundreds of thousands of posts in our database, so it started to become a problem. So in this case, we started to move that to a custom table as he proposed. Maybe it's a good use case. Okay, any other?
Can you make a comparison with Ignite and other competitors?
There are many types of starter plugin, and we use Ignite because we use our previous experience. I think if we have a demo with content of files and in admin environment, you can get what you need about this plugin.
Okay, just tell me one thing Ignite can do faster or easier than other plugins.
It's very simple. Just you don't need use all functions or class.
Okay, it's a robust
you can
plugin.
remove, for example, API folders, API file, template file. Just is a demo for you. You can use it or you don't use it.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Dan. We can make a break if you want, or we can continue for the second. So I think nobody wants break, so please. In the second session of today, it's other co-founder of Verona Labs, Navid, will tell about their customer support experiences in Verona Labs.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Navid Kashani and I am project manager at Verona Labs. Today I want to speak about customer support. Okay, let's get started. Actually, customer support is a very huge topic and we can't talk about it all days. However, since we have limited time today, I want to speak about one important question. When hire your first customer support agent, I think it's a critical question because it can affect your team and your product. As you can see, this chart, in the earliest stage, the founder of product usually responsible for customer support, and you can see quality of support is very high and very good. But after that, when a user grows, the quality of customer support declines. But you can fix it by hiring your first support agent, so you can increase your quality of support. But then keep in mind, as the number of users grows, the decline in the customer support quality is unavoidable. You can see when you hire more support agent, but the quality of support decrease in the time. So there is one big problem. So what we can do? Actually, I haven't seen many startups that cost of their customer support has surpassed their other expenses, because support is very expensive. Also, it can reduce your cost, especially in future, if you focus on your support from day one. And with customer support, you can learn more about your customer and the problem you want to solve. So, do we need to hire a support person from day one? Of course not, because it increases your burn rate in the early days. And you don't understand your customer well enough and the problem that you want to solve. Also, it creates a gap between your customer and your team. Because by hiring a customer support agent in the early days, your engineering team will be relieved from learning about customers' issues. So, what should we do? Actually, there are many ways to address this, but on top of the list, there are two main categories. One, by improve your support process, and two, by addressing your support requests before they are even generated. So, these days, there are many support systems available with great data analytics, where you can find many useful reports, such as response time, your busiest day, number of reply, and etc. But for starting, I think response time and response quality are two of the best metrics for a start, and it's good enough. Step 2, one channel. If you have multiple channels of support, integrate them into a central hub and grant access to your entire team to get an idea of the last issues and user pains. One of the best services we can use is Slack. At Verona Labs, we create a Slack channel for integrated it with our Help Scott account, GitHub, and WordPress.org. And so all the team members of our team can see the user's request and the problem on daily basis. Solve your support requests before they are born. In the following slide, I will talk about how to reduce the support requests by solving them before they are even generated. One of the very good work to do is create a list of tags based on different stages of customer onboarding, such as installation, integration, feature request, can't find something, and especially your product features. For example, the report section, export functionality, or user registration in your product. Believe me, you will be surprised by the results if you categorize your support request. And I think the most important one, user experience based on customer support. It is one of the best ways to improve the user experience is customer support. Analyzing customer question, problem, and request can give a great insight into how to improve an existing product or even create a new one. Okay, let's see an example. WP Statistic is our most popular plugin in Verona Labs. One of the main reasons that make it so popular is that user can see all the data that they need in a simple dashboard and a single view without any weird filter or idioms. Let's see. It's a sample screenshot of WP Statistic plugin. You don't have to learn something new, nor you should read the documentation to understand what the metrics are, what the chart about the data. And I think you already know this view. It's a screenshot from a Google Analytics page. And in my opinion, one of the best tools in the world. In the past few years, we thought about adding more advanced features similar to Google Analytics. We always thought an excellent report page is a page like Google Analytics. However, our user has been telling us differently. Just think about what would happen if we spent a lot of time and energy to develop something like Google Analytics. There probably wouldn't be a WP statistic today. And of course, you already know about that. Can make documentation, can reduce your support requests, such as normal documentation, FAQs. And I repeat video 3 times because it's very, very useful. And recently, we use a website called UseLoom. One of the services we have been using a lot recently for creating video in Loom. If you haven't used it already, I highly recommend it to check it out. Because you can create a video just as a 3-click just in Chrome. Okay, back to the main question. When hire your first customer agent support? Customer support agent. As I mentioned before, the answer is when you are ready. As I mentioned before, not paying enough attention to this topic can increase the gap between your team and the user, which can also cause an increase in your support budget and decline the quality of your product in the future. And later on, it will destroy your product and your team, because you must be ready before. And one more thing. Your first support person should create documentation, FAQ, videos based on support requests. This is a very important point in order to continue this process in the future. So, your employee, number 1, should not be just a simple customer support agent. And thank you. Let me check the question. Thank you. No. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have found this presentation useful. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Is there any questions? Yes.
And not directly to support, but when you publish your first plugin, how do you get first customers? What's your marketing strategy?
Actually, we start the plugin development in 7 or 8 years ago. And on those days, a good plugin can, user find a good plugin because the market is not big enough, yes. And these days, we use our user base to introduce our new plugin to our current users. I hope I can answer your question.
Okay, is there any other questions? Okay, so I have one. Do you use any other services or tools to manage your team? Or
we use Help Scout to manage our support request. especially we use in email, with email. And the help desk we think is a very good service because they are show a great report based on days, support request, type of support, and we can tag every support request.
So you can find root causes from tagging maybe.
Yes, actually we categorize the support requests and analyze them to find what's the most problem in our user and find it and resolve it. So we decrease our support request in about the time.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
So the next, we will continue with a demo for Ignite, I think, after a break. There will be, is that 10 minutes enough for that? Okay, let's take a 10-minute break, then we will start the demo. Okay, in the last session of today, we'll see a demo about Ignite plugin. Please start.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, after enabling the Ignite, we create a simple table that Ignite table and which these columns ID, created, name, text, and URLs. Just it's simple, and the class of this installation available in this file. It's very simple. There are the comments of functions and namespace. It's a standard. You can change your columns in this line. And please consider. Okay. Look at this line. Adoption Ignite DB version. It's very important for your plugin. I think you can use this for upgrade your table in the next release. First, it's important you use the version for your tables. And the output of this table will be shown WP list table class. You can see all columns that search, paginate, bulk actions, and you can add, for example, delete, add, edit, and this file available includes admin directory and tables, class Ignite. Class Ignite. Then about REST API. Ignite version 1 endpoint. We have an endpoint with table. For example, WP-JSON Ignite version 1 table. This is output of this endpoint. And you can, please consider this data is static, and you can use use this table for show your data in REST API. And let me to find the API. The API class available in Ignite includes API and version 1. We have a function that registers REST routes. Look at this slide. Ignite version 1 table, and the callback is table callback. And we have a core class that REST available in this. Look at the data. This is a static. You can get your data from database. And about option page. There are some fields in database: text, number, text area, editor, checkbox, radio button, password, color, and update fields. It's very simple to create it. Let me check. Look at this line. The first key is for your tab, for example, general tab. Then basic fields, text, and the type of text is text, type, number. Look at the example, text area, rich editor, header. It's very simple to create an option page, and the output is this page. And we have a class that get option. You can use this class for your get all options and get single options. It's very important we get the options always. Just we get first one, get option in the construct function, and use this in another method. And for template, we have template functions. It's very clean. We use namespace. We have a function that get option with same parameters. You can use this function in your theme. This is all of these classes and functions is a example for you, and you can delete and for base plugin, look at the code. First, we set constants, then includes and initial hooks. For constant, we define two constants and use this in another file. Initial hooks for create tables, and includes. This is conditional loading. We check admin environment to load these files, then load option and public, API class, then template functions. And then support text domain for your internationalization.
Okay, thank you. How we can query data from table in our team, for example?
It's very simple. For example, you want show this data in API. You can, first of all, you should global this is an example. Wait. We can use WordPress helper database for load your data from your from your tables. This is a simple example.
Okay. Is there any questions? Okay, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
You have a gift for all members and it's enough.
Yeah, we can share
Okay.
it. Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there's a gift for everyone. Okay, so it's free time now. If anyone has questions about anything related WordPress, it's the time. We can discuss, share our ideas, not just limited with today's topic. Okay, so there are new people with us. Is it possible to introduce yourself and give some examples with your relationship with WordPress? So maybe we can start a chat from here. Yes, you were a speaker, but I think you forgot to mention about Verona Labs. Please also tell about yourself and Verona also.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, my name is Navid Kashani, and I am project manager at Verona Labs. We started working with WordPress around, I think, more than 10 years ago in wppersian.com in Iran, and localization of WordPress in Farsi. And we just working with Mustafa to create Verona Labs, and we have some plugin like WPS Statistic and WPSMS, and also we have some services like plugin development, custom plugin development, and custom theme development in veronalabs.com. So I think I'm good.
Okay. By the way, where is your target market? You are just working with Persian companies, or?
Actually, not. We are not working with Persian companies. We are targeting in Persian country, and we have starting from, I think, around less than 1 year ago, we created a total remote team in Verona Labs, and we have a small team, 6 people. Yes, and but we think we base it on our users, around more than 500,000 users that use WPS Statistic and SMS. We can improve our sales process and create a new services and make a new plugin.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can continue.
Thank you for everything. As you know, I'm a developer, a WordPress developer, and the first plugin is for 7 years ago. The W statistics. That it's a very popular plugin that has many users, and we just work it, because after many update we get many problem, and so this is a fact. If your plugin will be grow, your problem it's a start. Then we have a plan to create a new plugins like WhatsApp support that support business API for WhatsApp, and we have a plugin for do actions in WordPress. That name is Actions plugin, but it's not complete, and we're trying to fix some issue in the future. And we have a new way for Verona Labs, free themes, just free themes. 2 or 3 themes we want to create, and that support Gutenberg and WordPress customizer.
Okay, so a good question about team. Do you have any plans to develop any team starter like Ignite?
Yes, we have another project, free project like Sector. Sector is a theme starter for WordPress. You can see our repository in GitHub and see our free project. Sector for theme and Ignite for plugin.
Okay, thank you then.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yes, please.
First, I'm not a coder. I'm a WordPress user. I'm mainly interested in Bootstrap CSS, Laravel PHP framework, and WordPress as a user. I'm a little bit inclined to create my own theme or plugin. And I'd like to ask a general question to everyone. What would you like to advise to someone who wants to build his own paid plugin for WordPress?
Okay.
Can you repeat your?
What would you advise to someone who wants to build his own paid WordPress plugin? There are many different methods. For example, myteamshop.com has created their own sub-plugin for their own themes and plugins. They may, you can also use an authentication method separately. What would you advise?
I think this is a question. Let me see some plugin. For example, for security, I need. Let me check in website. This is a good question. How we earning money from open source project? The base of our plugin is free and open source, and we have some add-ons that improve your theme. Forget earning money. Wait. WPS statistics is free, just have some add-ons you can get money or earning from your project. This is I think it's the add-ons is one method, and another thing is professional package, like all-in-one SEO pack, have a professional pack. About WPSMS, demo. The base of this plugin is free and open source. Look at the option page. All of this option is free. Then we have MNO. All of this option is disabled because the professional pack is not enabled. We can redirect users to this page and advertise our features or their plugin features, and users see this and sometimes will purchase our product. So, Navid, can you explain next? Thank you.
About your question, we test two type of premium type of plugin. One, WPS statistic, which sells with add-ons, to with premium version of WP SMS. But I think you must find the problem you want to solve. I think for WP statistic, we think a user care about their privacy, because they use WP statistic because they don't want to store data in, for example, Google Analytics or Google servers. And another point is a simplified process. So you must find the problem, and we think start with free plugin can gather some users and then sell them something. For WPSMS, the users pay for integration and paid for SMS gateway. So they can easily to connect their WordPress to their gateway. I think, I hope answer your question.
How do you authenticate the user for premium usage?
Authenticate,
Sorry, let me make an do you know myteamshop.com?
My Team Shop, personally I don't.
They have their own proprietary plugin for all their teams and plugins. So you load My Team Shop plugin first, and then you can load the teams from My Team Shop, all of their plugins.
A base plugin that's used for all.
Yes, it's a base plugin. So in your method, you chose not to use such a base plugin.
Yes.
Why did you make such a choice, and which one is better? Why?
I think I can't say which one is better, because we sell two plugins separately, not a plugin store. We haven't plugin store. So we decide to separate them totally. But when you have many plugins or many themes, I think it's a good option to create a base plugin to manage all of them in one place.
Okay. So next one. But we were introducing ourselves. Okay. Oğuzhan, next one.
My name is Oğuzhan. I am working in WPMU Dev remotely. We have hundreds of plugins. For your question, we are using base plugin. We have a plugin which name is WPMU Dev Dashboard. And you are installing that first. Then you can install other premium plugins. That's help us to keep members in better support, so they can open a support question from the base plugin, or we can update them from the base plugin, like plugin updates or any announcements, something like that. Also, we have provide a white label option from the base plugin. Like you are choosing white label from the base plugin and write your own brand. So all our plugins start to implement themselves for your brand. So your users not seeing any WPMU dev brand and always your brand. It helps like that. I'm working in WPMU dev more than 1 year. Past year I was working as support engineer, and this year I am working in automation side about QA.
So, next please.
My name is Bülent. I'm very new to WordPress, and I'm just exploring kind. That's all.
Okay, it's perfectly.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation.
Enjoyed from
Yes,
the
yes,
event?
yeah.
It was helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, my name is Orkun. I am studying in Maltepe University Computer Engineering department, but now I am not studying in my department because now I am studying in English preparation class. That's all.
So it's the first year, I think.
Yes.
Okay. So you want to work as a WordPress developer in the future? What do you think about it?
I don't think anything about it now.
It's too early, maybe.
Yes, it's too early to me.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Let me introduce Let me introduce myself again. I am also working as WordPress developer for a very long time. And also I am a developer since 1998. So I developed lots of portals, etc. Even I created a CMS. It has 400,000 lines of codes. If you compare with WordPress, it's almost equal. But in one point, I think I don't need to reinvent the wheel. So I started to use WordPress in my projects maybe about 10 years. And I worked with some remote companies at this period. One of them was VPM Dev. I was one of their developers for Forminator plugin and CoursePress plugin, for example. And I am still working in my own company at the moment, named Atom. We are developing some software as a services. It's not directly related with WordPress at the moment, but we have still offering some DevOps for remote companies. Because I mentioned earlier, when your project becomes bigger, you experience many systems problems. With WordPress, it's perfectly normal. Every software experiences the same problems. You just need to fix them. So I am working for that. I think this is the 6th meeting. There we were at Istanbul Technical University in the beginning, and for more than 1 year, I think, thanks to Koç University, they are hosting our events here. Last a few meetups is thing about related, some plugin development related events. By the way, all of our events are broadcasted on YouTube, so you can check the previous presentations. For example, there was a Gravity Forms development workshop. It was very useful. I know some people started to use Gravity Forms after that. I think today maybe we gain some new developers maybe. So it will continue like that. By the way, it's open. It's an open platform, so you can also grab your place here if you want for the future events. So thank you for coming. It was a pleasure to meet all of these people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.